Have you ever wondered what lies beyond death? Or what really lies in store for humanity in 2025? In this video, you will hear the unfiltered account of a woman who died for 7 minutes and returned with an urgent message from the source. Shocking. Revelations about the future of Earth and the spiritual awakening that has already begun. If this theme resonates with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. And tell me here in the comments, which city are you watching from? Let's spread this message. I don't know how to explain this without sounding crazy, but everything changed when my heart stopped. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't delirium. I took 7 minutes. That's what the doctor said afterwards. But for me, time disappeared. It all started with a flash. Not like ordinary light, it was a presence. It was as if the very air around me was conscious. It was a golden vibration, alive, pulsating, as if I were being enveloped by something that knew me deeply. I was no longer in the hospital. I wasn't anywhere I recognized. The first sensation was peace, but not an ordinary peace. It was a peace that seemed to have mass, texture, and smell, a peace that cried with you, laughed with you. It was as if the universe was hugging me and saying, "You're back, welcome back." I floated over a landscape impossible to describe. It wasn't heaven, it wasn't land. It was a field of energy, undulating fields, as if space were made of liquid silk and pure consciousness. I saw geometric shapes gently rotating, symbols that seemed alive, as if they were dancing in a language that my soul understood, even if my brain didn't. And then, the voice. It was no ordinary voice. It was a thought inside me that didn't come from me. It was the source, or God, or the universe. The name doesn't matter. What matters is what these. Humanity is at a threshold. 2025 is no ordinary year. It is a point of choice. Time is dividing. At that moment, I saw it. We with the eyes of the soul. 2 paths, 2 possible futures. In one of them, there was light, cooperation, healing, a return to essence. In the other, chaos, fragmentation, an emotional and spiritual collapse on a global scale. And they showed me the reason. Humans live in airplane mode, disconnected from source, disconnected from each other, but the activation has begun. It was the first time I heard the term activation in that state. It was as if waves of light were igniting at points across the planet, small explosions of consciousness awakening in the midst of the darkness. But it was urgent. It was like we were late. The sensation was of a race against something invisible. And then came the downloads. Information, images, sensations all at once. About who we really are, about what we forgot, about what we need to remember before 2025. But it was too much. My human couldn't process it. I begged the source, "Please, slow, tell I can't take it anymore." And even with the request, the flow didn't stop. It just slowed down. I saw religious structures dissolving, governments collapsing like sandcastles. I saw people leaving cities in droves, seeking nature, community, silence. I saw a child born in 2025 with eyes that shone like stars. I saw the earth as a living being, sighing. That vision left an impression on me. Everything is alive. Everything is waiting for you, but you need to wake up. That's what she said. And then everything shook. The frequency has changed. I felt like I was being called back. The light began to vibrate at another frequency. It was like music, but without sound. I could feel the melody, notes made of feelings, images, forgotten memories. Everything vibrated in harmony, as if the universe was trying to teach me something without words. And then came a new vision. I was taken to what looked like a gigantic machine, but it wasn't made of metal. It was made of thoughts, beliefs, fears, and it turned slowly, fueled by everything humans believe to be true. "This is the illusion machine," the source explained to me. She was not created by a government, nor by an evil entity. She was created by you. I felt a tightness in my chest. I saw how this machine distorted people's perceptions, transforming light into fear, freedom into control, spirituality into doctrine. It was like an energetic filter that covered the planet, preventing the pure truth from reaching us. And then I understood. The machine fed on the separation. Religion against religion, party against party, me against you. Every time a human chose fear over compassion, the machine gained more power, but the source also showed me something that seemed impossible: system failure. With each age, souls arise who came with original codes. They do not bend. They remember. And I saw these people, spread around the world, some quiet, others already active. Artists, children, mystics, scientists, each carried a spark, a different frequency. It was as if inside them there was a spiritual alarm clock programmed to sound exactly in 2025. The number 1% appeared before me, in letters of light. If 1% of humanity awakens to the truth, the illusion begins to crumble. And it was there that I understood my role, and that of so many other people. We weren't special, but we were living reminders, witnesses of what is real, carriers of what they showed me as the original frequency. You don't need to convince the world, you just need to maintain the frequency. The rest spreads itself. At that moment, I saw invisible chains breaking around the earth, chains that tied people to realities that were not theirs. And each chain that broke released a wave of light, and more people began to see beyond the machine. The source showed me one last thing before the next transition: the return circle. A large field where souls gathered before reincarnating. There I saw familiar faces, people I hadn't yet met on Earth but felt like family. They knew everyone was ready. We had promised if one forgot, the other would remember for him. The field shook. The vision began to fade. You need to remember, and you need to count. The clock is counting down. It was the last sentence before everything started to dissolve. When everything started to dissolve, I thought it was coming back. But no. Reality just changed layer. It was as if I was delving deeper and deeper into the very fabric of the universe. And then I saw as almas, not on bodies, not in human forms. I saw consciences, beings made of light and intention, each with a unique frequency, like a musical note. Some vibrated more intensely, others were dull, almost dormant. And I realized no one was condemned, everyone was just in different stages of remembering. There is no eternal punishment. This is a figment of the fearful mind, the source told me. The only hell is oblivion. Those words pierced me, because in that place, you knew that were true. And it was in this state that they revealed to me the architecture of souls. I saw how each soul carefully chose its experience before being born, the place, the season, the family, even the traumas. It was all part of a much larger project. Perfect spiritual engineering, but invisible to the eyes of the world. You chose to forget, so that remembering would have value. In that instant, I saw my own life as a hologram spinning around me. Moments that I had considered tragedies were placed there by myself, not as punishment, but as portals. Each wound was an invitation to transcendence, and each loss, a lever to wake up. Pain is the mirror of truth. Those who face pain with courage break the bars of illusion. I began to understand that human suffering, all the despair, anxiety, loneliness, was a distorted form of call to remembrance. Pain is the alarm of the soul, and we have ignored this alarm for centuries. I saw then a corridor of souls, passing through portals made of liquid light. Many were returning to Earth, incarnating right now in the period between 2023 and 2026. Willing souls, beings who chose to live in this time of chaos because they knew the potential for transformation hidden within it. It was as if every major conflict on the planet was a preparation for a leap of consciousness. The source told me something that still resonates with me. Chaos is the catalyst of creation. Every crisis contains the code of healing. And then they showed me Earth's timeline as if it were a strand of DNA rotating and pulsing. It forked sharply at the point of 2025. I saw this year standing out as if it shone brighter than the others, not because of a tragedy, but because it was a global decision point. Either you remember now, or the cycle starts again. My spiritual heart sank. The urgency was real. The earth wouldn't end, but opportunity might. And this chance would not be repeated for many centuries. That's when I heard something new, not from source, but from myself. An inner voice that seemed to come from a higher version of who I am. She said, "If you forget everything, remember this. Pain is a portal. Don't run away from it. Cross." Everything started spinning around. I knew the next vision would show me something even deeper. But first, reality exploded into golden fragments. It was like crossing the threshold of what the human mind can bear. I thought I had seen it all. But no. What came next was indescribable. If everything up until then was like observing the universe through a crystal window, what opened now was the complete removal of the veil. It was as if my consciousness was being expanded to the point where the very idea of reality began to crumble. "You are ready," said the voice. And then, the scenery disappeared. There was no more light, no forms, no time. Only pure consciousness, a living presence which was not an entity. It was all. And it was there that I received the biggest shock of all. Nothing we call reality is fixed. Everything is coded. Everything is consciousness projected into form. I then saw what I can only describe as behind the scenes of human existence. Energy lines, vibrational codes, mental commands programming. What we call life. It was like seeing the source code of the universe. The world you live in is an emotional learning simulation, I was told. But not like your science fiction movies, it's an organic, conscious evolutionary simulation. I saw that every physical object, every tree, every body, every cell, was a combination of light, intention, and consciousness. Nothing was solid. Everything was condensed perception. And more, each person lives their own reality, with small imperceptible differences created by your own beliefs, traumas, and level of connection with the source. The illusion is not that the world does not exist. The illusion is believing that it is all that exists. That sentence went through me like a spear of light. I saw how the world's great structures, governments, religions, media, economic systems, are like interfaces in an immersive game. Tools to keep us within a controlled space of experiences. But then came the most shocking revelation of all. In 2025, the system reaches its simulation limit. It needs to be updated, or it collapses. I saw this represented as a digital globe, fragmenting, corrupt lines of code, perception errors increasing, emotional illnesses, existential crises, energetic collapses on the planet. It was as if the simulation was warning that it could no longer support the old model. You are being invited to step out of passive mode and take creative control. I saw awakened humans rescheduling your reality with awareness, creating health, synchronies, paths. I saw a future where quantum science and spirituality merged, and humanity was no longer just a survivor, it became co-creator. On this plane, time was no longer linear. I saw past, present, and future events happening simultaneously, and I understood that many of the pains we feel today are echoes of the future trying to warn us. You feel the collapse before it happens, so you can avoid it. The words shook me. Everything made sense. The weight, the collective tiredness, the generalized anxiety were symptoms of an update needed. The system is overloaded. And 2025 is the point at which either we restart with awareness or reality goes into defense mode, fragmentation, isolation, fear. And at that moment, I was led to a choice that would make me understand what love really means. But that was what awaited me in the next stage. It was then that the light changed. It was no longer gold nor blue. It was a tone that doesn't exist here. A vibration so pure that it made you want to cry just being there. I felt like I was facing something sacred, something that was not seen with the eyes, but with the soul. And then, the source asked me the most difficult question of my existence. Do you want to remember or rest? I didn't understand right away, but then they showed me, made me to feel. It was like diving into the heart of the earth, but not the physical one, the emotional. I felt the pain of millions, the fear of forgotten children, the loneliness of elderly people in hospitals, the despair of people who look in the mirror and don't recognize themselves. I felt the suffocating oppression of those who hate themselves inside, the silent panic of those who pretend to be fine. And the source told me, remembering means carrying the pain of the collective, transmuting for them, loving for those who still can't. My entire being screamed. I was shaking, if it's possible, to shake without a body. The pain was unbearable, but along with it came something even more powerful, compassion. I felt such deep compassion that my spirit began to expand, as if every part of me said, yes, I can handle it, because they are me, and I am them. And that's when I understood. No one wakes up alone. True awakening is collective. This choice I was given was not symbolic. It was real. I could forget everything when I returned, coming back to life with a gentle haze of peace, no memories of what I saw. Or remember everything and carry the weight, the mission, the responsibility of being a bearer of truth. If you remember, it will be a beacon, but light attracts shadows. They will try to erase you. I saw this. I saw the resistance, the trial, people calling me crazy, a liar. I saw my own family doubting me. I saw the silence of many who would not be ready to listen. And yet, I said, yes, I choose to remember. The moment I accepted, my spiritual field began to expand even further. It was like I was being reconfigured. Light codes were inserted into me, into my consciousness. It was the download, the universal data package that should be released to humanity in time. I was told there was no urgency in the human sense, but energy urgency. The Earth's frequency was accelerating. Portals were opening. Today's choices are shaping future centuries. You came back to remember what the world forgot. Everything is energy. Everything is choice. And love is the password to everything. After that, everything started to spin. I felt like I was being sucked back in, but in a gentle, loving way. A soft but firm goodbye. The source told me, take with you the silence between the words. That's where the truth lives. And then, everything went dark. The next thing I felt was air entering my lungs again. The first thing I felt was cold. Not the cold of air, conditioning, or a hospital room. It was the cold of matter, body weight, the limitation of meat, the brutal contrast between the expansion I had experienced and the stark contours of physical reality. My eyes slowly opened. White lights on the ceiling, a constant beep, distant muffled voices as if the world were still under a thin layer of veil. A doctor said my name. Someone held my hand. But I wasn't there yet. Not completely. Because what no one around me knew was that I brought something with me. The images, the voices, the map of consciousness. The mirror of 2025. Everything was still alive inside me, as if my soul had done the impossible, carrying data from one dimension to another. Every beat of my physical heart made visions vibrate within my chest. "She's back," they said. But I knew I was no longer the same. I was silent for a long time. How can we explain that the heaven that religion promised was already here waiting? How to tell that the end of the world was not destruction but revelation? How can I say that I saw the code behind reality, and that it could be rewritten? The words seemed too small for everything I had experienced. I observed the world around me with new eyes. The people in the hospital, the tired expressions, cell phones in hands, the blank stares. And inside me, something repeated like a drum. They're still in airplane mode. And me? I was disabled, disconnected from the old self, but now connected to Source, irreversibly. In the days that followed, the symptoms began. Not physical, but spiritual. I felt when someone lied. I heard thoughts. I dreamed of symbols that I didn't understand, but that appeared again in real places. Light bulbs flickered near me. My electronics would turn off by themselves. And even stranger, I began to feel the presence of the other awakened ones. It was like a secret radio frequency, in supermarkets, in traffic, in lines. I looked into the eyes of strangers, and you knew. That one saw it too. But then the hardest part began, the silence from others. I tried to count. The first person I told was my sister. She looked at me with pity, then scared, then angry, and then came the label. "You were in a coma, it was just hallucinations." But I knew. I knew because what I had seen, it kept happening. The sensations, the synchronicities, the vibration of people, the phrases that echoed from dreams to reality. I didn't come back just to survive. I came back to remember, and more, to warn. 2025 is a breaking point, but it is also a portal of rebirth. This phrase was engraved inside me, as if it were written in my cells. And I knew, when this year arrived, something very big would happen. But before speaking to the world, I needed to understand how to live among those who did not yet see, how to be a bridge between two worlds, and how to keep the light that I brought from there burning. The days following the hospital, the world seemed the same, but I was no longer able to see him with the same eyes. Something inside me was unlocked, as if I had gained a new, invisible lens that changed everything. Sounds had more depth. People's words had hidden intentions, and the coincidences are no longer coincidences. They started signs. First, it was a dream, where a child with golden eyes told me, "They have already started to wake up." I woke up with my heart racing and the clear feeling that this wasn't just a dream. It was a warning. That morning, when I opened my phone for the first time after my NDE, a notification hit me like a wave. Total solar eclipse expected in April 2025. The same one I saw on the other side. "It's the tipping point," whispered a voice in me. Then came the numbers. 1111, 222, 555, constant sequences in watches, car license plates, service passwords. I felt when it was going to happen. It was as if the universe was winking at me, saying, "You are on the right path." But it wasn't just codes. People started. Strangers would come up to me out of nowhere. In cafes, at the market, on the bus, they talked about spirituality, of strange dreams, of new sensations. A man told me, without me asking, "I have a feeling something big is going to happen in 2025, I don't know why." I looked into his eyes. It was as if my soul said to him, "You remember it too, don't you?" And then, reality began to set in, vibrate. Dreams became real in hours. Thoughts materialized into events. I wanted to meet an old friend again, and the next day, he showed up at the same cafe as me, after years of no contact. People who hurt me in the past started asking for forgiveness for no apparent reason. Everything was accelerating. The veil is getting thinner, I thought, and I knew it was because 2025 was approaching. Earth's energetic clock was changing beats, as if we were passing through a vibrational corridor where everything becomes clearer or more chaotic depending on the frequency that each one carries. I also saw the dark side of activation, people freaking out, relationships falling apart, beliefs crumbling. It was as if people's internal structures could no longer support the lie. I saw friends go into deep depressions, others get lost in extreme theories. Some simply shut down, numbed themselves out of fear of remembering. Not everyone is ready to remember, whispered that same inner voice. But I was, and with each new sign, with each new memory, with each new person that crossed my path saying, I feel something is coming, I understood. What I experienced was not just for me. It was a calling, and it's spreading. We are within a silent wake-up, invisible to ordinary eyes, but deafening to those with spiritual ears. King 25 will not be the end, but will it be uncovering? And I knew my mission was just beginning. For weeks I struggled with what I was feeling. It was like carrying a burning secret in your chest, not because it's heavy, but because it's too big to contain. I saw the world around me moving on as if nothing had changed, but inside me everything was different. You need to tell, said that presence that never left me. But how to tell an experience that breaks the limits of language? How can I explain that I saw the structure of reality fall apart and come back together before my eyes? How to say that 2025 is not just a year, but a collective activation portal, and that it has already started to open up? During a meditation, I received one last fragment of that download I received on the other side. A simple, almost childish symbol, a circle with internal lines. But you knew what it meant. It was the collective field of human consciousness. And in that field, some points began to blink. 1, 2, then dozens, hundreds. I saw that people were starting to remember. Not all, but enough to generate a wave, a critical mass. The 1% that was revealed to me. Now I saw it clearly. They were waking up. And most importantly, they were looking for each other. That's why I write this. That's why I speak now, even though I'm shaking inside. Why the time of silence is over. I discovered that the fear of appearing crazy is a defense mechanism against illusion. And the illusion no longer contains me. The memories of the NDE live on. The feeling of being out of your body, the presence of the source, the map of consciousness, the illusion machine, the mirror of 2025. It's all here, alive, vibrating. Anyone who has not cleansed their soul by 2025 will see themselves reflected in a raw way, is what I heard there, and pain will be the catalyst for those who still resist. This scared me at first, but now I understand. It's not a punishment. It's the extreme opportunity, one last chance to wake up, to stop running away, to view pain not as punishment, but as key. I saw that the awakenings will intensify. Lucid dreams, inexplicable sensations, sudden attraction to spiritual themes, automatic rejection for falsehoods. All of this, it is the spiritual body trying to synchronize with the new frequency. And I saw that my mission is not to convince and remind people what they already know. I didn't come to teach anything. I came to activate what is already inside each one, and time is running out. 2025 has already started to vibrate. What you do now defines what you will remember later. So here I am, talking, even without knowing who will listen, even without knowing if anyone will believe it, because if just one soul ignites, it is worth it. If you've made it this far, maybe something in you is awakening too. Maybe what I experienced seems impossible. Or maybe it sounds too familiar, like a memory that was hidden deep in your soul. I needed to die for 7 minutes to remember. But maybe you don't need to go that far. Maybe hearing this story is already your calling. Today, after everything, I no longer live like I used to. Not because I became enlightened, but because I can no longer pretend that I didn't see what I saw. I saw time dividing. I saw the love behind the pain. I saw the universe silently waiting for humanity to remember itself. And the truth is, you also chose to be here at this time. Yes, you. With your doubts, your pains, your tiredness. None of this is by chance. The soul chose this incarnation with precision, because she knew what was coming. Did you know that in 2025 the game would change phase, and you are not alone? Since returning, I started finding other people with similar stories. Some have had NDEs, others went through dark nights of the soul, illnesses, emotional breakdowns, but they all had the same spark in their eyes, that silent flame that says, I know there's something bigger going on. These people are the headlights. And if you feel like you're one of them, understand, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to keep the light on. Because every conscience awakens pulls better realities into this plane. The new earth does not arrive from outside. It is born from within. This is what was revealed to me, that we are not waiting for a savior nor for a miracle. We are the miracle, waiting for ourselves. But the time for waiting has passed. You can feel it, right? The world no longer supports the illusion. The pain is wide open, the masks falling, and everything that has been hidden is coming to light. This is the role of the mirror of 2025. Show, reflect, and force us to choose. Continue sleeping, or wake up for good. I made my choice when I came back. And now, I leave this with you. You chose to be alive right now. Don't run away from it. Don't deny your intuition. Don't discredit your light. Maybe you don't remember now. But remember this, you are one of those who came to remember. And the time is now. If you like this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a like, comment on your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch each new video and help us spread this message to a greater number of people. Until next time.